around you for a moment. Every person sitting here has a dream, a vision of who they want to be in the future. Some dream of being doctors, some engineers, some leaders, some creators. But let me tell you a secret: dreams alone are not enough. Every successful person you admire was once a student just like you, sitting in a classroom, unsure of the future. The difference is not in talent, not in luck, not even in intelligence. The difference is in the principles they live by. Today, I share with you 3 powerful principles that can transform your student life into a foundation for lifelong success. When we talk about success in student life, people think about exams, grades, and certificates. But the truth is that all these things are secondary compared to the foundation behind them. And that foundation is clarity of purpose. Without a clear purpose, even the brightest student feels lost, and even the hardest worker feels tired too quickly. Purpose is like the compass of a ship. You may have the best engine, the best fuel, and the strongest sailors, but if you don't know where you are going, simply circle in the ocean without reaching the shore. Many students work day and night, memorizing chapters, solving problems, running from one tuition to another. Deep inside, they do not know why they are doing it, and when you don't know why, you lose motivation halfway. Purpose is the invisible energy that makes every effort meaningful. Think of a student who wakes up early every morning to study mathematics, not because someone forced him, because he dreams of becoming an engineer who can design bridges and buildings to improve the lives of people in his city. Compare him with another student who studies the same subject, but only because his parents told him it is important. The first student feels inspired, even when the problems are tough. The second feels irritated and complains about every formula. The difference is not in intelligence. It is not in natural talent. It is not in the resources they have. The difference lies only in purpose. Purpose transforms boring work into exciting work, and it changes obstacles into challenges worth fighting for. Students are unclear about their purpose. They tend to compare themselves constantly with others. They see classmates getting better grades, and they start to feel inferior. They see friends winning prizes, and they start to think they are failures. But the real problem is not that they are less capable. The real problem is that they are walking without direction. If you are running on the wrong track, it doesn't matter how fast you are, you will never win the right race. Clarity of purpose saves you from this endless comparison, because when you know why you are studying, you no longer care about competing with everyone else. You only focus on your own journey. The energy of purpose is stronger than jealousy, stronger than doubt, and stronger than fear. Clarity of purpose does not mean that you must have a perfect plan for your whole life at the age of 15 or 20. No, that is unrealistic. It simply means you should start asking yourself honest questions. What excites me? Which subjects give me energy? What kind of problems in the world would I like to solve? Maybe you don't know the exact career yet, but you know you enjoy helping people, or you love technology, or you are fascinated by stories, or you have a talent for organizing. That small spark is enough to create a purpose for now. Even if your purpose changes later, having one today gives direction to your present actions. Without it, you are like a person standing at a crossroads, waiting for someone else to decide, wasting precious years of your life. Of the biggest challenges students face is the pressure from society and family. Often parents want their children to choose secure careers, sometimes without asking what the child really wants. Society also glorifies certain professions and ignores others. This creates confusion inside the student's mind. Purpose cannot be borrowed from parents, teachers, or friends. It must come from within. A borrowed purpose does not last long. When difficulties arise, and they always do, the borrowed motivation disappears. The only way to keep moving through difficulties is to have a personal reason, something that belongs only to you. That is why clarity of purpose is so powerful. It belongs to you, and no one can take it away. If you look at people who have achieved extraordinary things in life, you will find that most of them were not the best students in terms of grades, but they had one thing in common: a clear purpose. Some wanted to solve poverty, some wanted to create new technology, some wanted to inspire people through art, and some wanted to protect the environment. That purpose gave them energy, made them patient, and helped them stay focused for years. Students should learn from this. Instead of chasing random goals set by others, pause and think: what drives me? What is meaningful to me? This question is more valuable than any exam paper you will ever write. Purpose also simplifies life. Without it, you get lost in distractions. You waste time scrolling endlessly on social media. You get caught in gossip. You procrastinate because nothing seems urgent. When you have clarity of purpose, your choices become easier. You know what to say yes to, and more importantly, you know what to say no to. A student with purpose is not perfect. He or she is consistent because there is always a bigger reason behind daily actions. For example, a student whose purpose is to become a doctor studies biology with more energy than one who only studies to avoid punishment. Purpose turns sacrifice into joy. You stop asking, "Am I suffering?" and start saying, "I know why this effort matters." Another beauty of clarity of purpose is that it creates resilience. Students often give up when they face repeated failures. They say, "I can't do this subject, I'm just not smart enough." But if you have a strong purpose, you don't give up easily. You see every failure as feedback, not as the end. Think about a student whose dream is to write novels. Even if his essays get low marks, he doesn't quit writing because his purpose is not just to score, but to tell stories that touch hearts. This student will continue practicing, continue learning, and one day those low marks will turn into applause. That is how purpose creates strength. It gives you a reason to endure what others cannot. Sometimes students confuse purpose with ambition. Ambition is the desire for success, fame, or money, but purpose is deeper than that. Ambition is about what you want to get. Purpose is about what you want to give. If your only aim is to be rich, you may achieve it, but still feel empty. But if your purpose is to create value, to solve problems, to make lives better, then success will follow naturally. Students should remember that ambition without purpose is like running fast in the wrong direction. Purpose is the map that ensures your ambition leads you somewhere meaningful. In student life, clarity of purpose also reduces stress. Most stress comes from uncertainty. You don't know why you are working. Every exam feels like a mountain. Every assignment feels like a punishment. But when you know why you are learning, even a big syllabus becomes manageable because you are not studying just for marks, you are studying for your future vision. Stress is replaced by passion, and even if the workload is heavy, you handle it with a stronger mindset. Ultimately, purpose gives meaning to every single day of student life. Imagine waking up every morning knowing exactly why you are going to school or college, why you are opening your books, why you are pushing yourself through difficulties. That kind of clarity is powerful. It makes you unstoppable. A student with clarity of purpose may not be the smartest in the classroom. He or she will be the one who goes furthest in life because direction always beats speed and clarity always beats confusion. When we think of student life, failure is often seen as the biggest enemy, the thing to fear most, the shadow that follows every exam and every competition. But in reality, failure is not the enemy at all. Loyal teacher that life can give you. The reason many students suffer so much when they fail is not because failure itself is unbearable, because they were never taught how to see it differently. Schools and families often celebrate success loudly and hide failure quietly, as if it is something shameful. Yet the truth is that every person who has ever succeeded has walked through the valley of failure many times. Without failure, success has no foundation, no story, and no strength. Failure in student life comes in many forms. It may be failing an exam, not achieving the grade you expected, being rejected in a competition, losing in a debate, being selected for a team, or simply not understanding a subject no matter how hard you try. In each of these moments, students feel disappointment, embarrassment, sometimes even hopelessness. Some give up, saying, "I am not made for this," while others learn, reflect, and try again. The difference between these two groups is not intelligence, but perspective. The first sees failure as the end of the road. The second sees it as a bend in the road. This small difference in vision changes the entire future of a student. Every failure contains a hidden lesson, a signal from life that something must change. Maybe your method of studying was wrong. Maybe your focus was weak. Maybe you relied too much on memorization without understanding, or maybe you underestimated the challenge. Failure exposes the truth, and truth is uncomfortable, but it is also the only thing that makes growth possible. A student who never fails may feel confident in the short term. In reality, they are often untested, fragile, and unprepared for the real challenges outside the classroom. It is the student who faces failure, who stumbles and gets up, who becomes strong enough to handle the storms of life. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall dozens of times, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing. They always try again. Nobody calls them a failure for falling. Everyone claps when they take another step. Yet as we grow older, society begins to criticize every fall. Slowly, students begin to fear failure more than they desire progress. This fear kills creativity, kills curiosity, kills courage. Many students do not even try new things because they are scared to look foolish if they fail. But the truth is, the people who dare to fail are the ones who learn fastest, because they collect experiences that safe players never touch. When a student fails an exam, the easy reaction is to hide from it, to blame the teacher, to complain about the subject, to pretend it doesn't matter. But the courageous reaction is to sit down and ask, why did I fail? What was missing in my preparation? Where did I go wrong? Can I do differently next time? This process of reflection is how failure transforms into wisdom. A student who learns to ask these questions after every setback becomes unstoppable, because every failure makes them smarter, stronger, and more prepared. In fact, failure can save years of life if you treat it as feedback. Failing early teaches you what not to do. Failing often teaches you how to improve. Failing forward teaches you how to build resilience. The real danger is not failing, it is quitting. Failure is temporary, quitting is permanent. A failed exam can be retaken, missed opportunity can be replaced, a mistake can be corrected, but if you quit because of fear, you close the door on your future. Students must realize that failure is never final. It is simply a message that the current approach did not work. The moment you quit, you silence that message and stop listening to the guidance life is giving you. That is why so many great achievers in history often repeat that failure shaped them more than success ever did. Success makes you proud, but failure makes you humble. Success gives you confidence, but failure gives you wisdom. Success shows you what works, but failure shows you what matters. One important truth is that failure creates resilience, and resilience is more valuable than intelligence. There are many intelligent students who collapse under pressure because they never learned how to handle defeat. The resilient student, even if less naturally talented, keeps moving forward and eventually achieves more. Resilience is built brick by brick through failure. Every time you fail and get up, you add another layer of strength to your character. This is why failure is not just about academics, it is about training the mind to face life. Life outside school is not a straight line of success, it is full of unexpected setbacks, rejections, and disappointments. The earlier students learn to see failure as normal, the more prepared they are for the future. Failure also teaches empathy. When you fail, you understand what it feels like to struggle, to be left behind, to feel doubt. This makes you more compassionate toward others who are also struggling. A student who has never faced failure may become arrogant. One who has failed and risen again learns to respect others' journeys. This quality not only makes you a better human being, but also helps in teamwork, leadership, and building real relationships in life. Sometimes failure is not just an academic signal, but also a life redirection. Maybe you failed in something because it was never truly your calling. Maybe you forced yourself into a field because of pressure, and failure is trying to tell you that your talent lies elsewhere. In this way, failure becomes a compass pointing you toward where you actually belong. Many successful people discovered their real passion only after failing in something they were not meant to do. Students should therefore not treat failure as humiliation but as guidance, as a whisper from life saying, "This path is not for you, try another one." There is also a spiritual strength in failure. Success feeds the ego, failure feeds the soul. When you fail, you are reminded that you are human, that you are learning, that you are part of something bigger. It teaches humility, patience, and persistence. It teaches you to value effort over result, journey over destination, process over perfection. These lessons are priceless, and they cannot be learned in textbooks. They can only be learned through experience, and failure is the gateway to those experiences. In student life, the key is to change your relationship with failure. Do not run away from it, do not hide it, and do not deny it. Face it openly, accept it, and learn from it. Every failure you embrace today will make your success tomorrow more meaningful. If you can reach a point where you see failure not as shame, but as training, not as defeat, but as discovery, you will realize that failure is not your enemy at all. It is your greatest mentor, one that never lies, never flatters, and never abandons you. When it comes to student life, every young person carries dreams inside their heart, dreams of becoming successful, dreams of living a life of meaning, dreams of making their family proud. The difference between those who achieve those dreams and those who only imagine them is one simple thing: action. Action is the bridge between the world of ideas and the world of reality, and without that bridge, no dream can ever be crossed. Students often have wonderful visions of the future. They talk about what they want to do. They imagine themselves in great positions. They even make big promises to themselves at the start of every year or every exam season. Yet so many of them fail to take consistent action on those promises. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect inspiration, the perfect mood, but perfection never comes. The truth is that progress does not come to those who wait. It comes to those who act. Action is powerful because it creates momentum. A student who sits and thinks about studying for hours learns nothing, but a student who opens the book and reads for just 10 minutes has already created progress. That 10 minutes may grow into 30 minutes and then into an hour, and before they realize it, they have learned more than they expected. Action feeds itself. The more you do, energy you create. Many students fall into the trap of overthinking. They make plans, schedules, and checklists, but they never take the first step. They keep asking themselves whether they are ready, whether they are smart enough, whether they will succeed. But readiness comes from doing, not from waiting. The only way to prepare for tomorrow is to start today, even with the smallest step. Consistency is the second half of this principle, and it is the part that makes success sustainable. Taking action once or twice is easy. Every student has had days of high motivation, when they feel unstoppable, when they study for hours or practice with full energy. But motivation is like fire. It burns bright but can fade quickly. Consistency is the wood that keeps the fire alive. Success in student life is never the result of a single day of extreme effort. It is the result of many small days of steady effort. Hour every day is more powerful than 10 hours once a week. Reading 5 pages daily will make you finish books faster than reading 50 pages once and then giving up for weeks. The secret of consistency is that it turns effort into habit, and once a habit is formed, success becomes natural. Consistency also teaches patience. Many students quit because they do not see immediate results. They study for a week and expect their grades to improve instantly. They practice for a month and expect to become experts. And when results don't show quickly, they feel discouraged. But growth works like nature. Seeds planted today do not give fruits tomorrow. They require watering, care, and time. Consistency is the watering of your dreams. Every small action may look invisible today. Over months and years, it compounds into something extraordinary. The students who succeed are not necessarily the ones who worked the hardest in one moment, the ones who worked steadily without giving up. There is a powerful truth about action. Even imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. Many students waste time waiting for the perfect way to study, the perfect resources, or the perfect circumstances. They say, "I will start tomorrow," or "I will study when I feel ready," and in the process, they lose months of opportunity. But students who take imperfect action learn by doing. They may not understand everything on the first try, they may make mistakes, but those mistakes give them experience, and experience is worth more than waiting. The discipline of doing something every day is more valuable than the dream of doing everything someday. Consistency is also the key to building character. You discipline yourself to act daily. Even when you don't feel like it, you are training your mind to control your future. Success in student life is not about what you do when you are excited, but what you do when you are tired, bored, or discouraged. Every time you choose to act despite your feelings, you become stronger, and that strength stays with you for the rest of your life. Students who build this consistency become reliable, not only to themselves but also to others. Reliability is one of the most respected qualities in the real world. Action and consistency also create confidence. Many students lack confidence because they spend too much time imagining failure. They say, "What if I can't do it?" But confidence is not built by thinking positively alone. It is built by doing something repeatedly until it becomes natural. For example, a student afraid of public speaking will never gain confidence by reading about speaking. If they take action by speaking in front of a small group every week, they will slowly build confidence. The same applies to every skill. Confidence grows with action, and consistency multiplies it. Another important point is that action and consistency protect students from procrastination. Procrastination is the enemy of progress, and it grows stronger when students wait for big moments. They say, "I'll start studying seriously before the exam," or "I'll prepare properly next semester," and slowly they train their mind to delay everything. The cure to procrastination is simple. Start with small, consistent actions. Study for 10 minutes, write a paragraph, solve one problem. Once you start, procrastination loses its power. Action kills procrastination, and consistency prevents it from coming back. Students must also understand that consistency is not about perfection. There will be days when you miss your target, days when you feel tired, days when life interrupts your routine. Consistency does not mean you never fall. It means you get back up quickly. If you miss one day of study, it doesn't mean you have failed. It means the next day you return to your path. Consistency is about persistence, perfection. Those who forgive themselves and continue forward are the ones who ultimately succeed. In the long run, action and consistency shape your identity. A student who consistently reads becomes a reader. A student who consistently practices mathematics becomes strong in logic. A student who consistently takes care of their health becomes disciplined in body and mind. Every small action you repeat daily writes a part of your future identity. This is why consistency is so powerful. It does not just change your results, it changes who you are. In student life, the difference between dreamers and achievers is that achievers act and keep acting, while dreamers only imagine. Dreams are important, but they are only the starting point. Without action, they remain illusions. Without consistency, they remain unfinished. Success is not about giant leaps. It is about small steps taken daily in the same direction. Every page you read, every problem you solve, every hour you dedicate builds upon the last, and together they create the future you desire. My friends, student life is not just about passing exams or collecting certificates. It is about building the foundation of the person you will become. If you can carry with you these 3 simple principles: first, to discover your purpose so that every step you take has meaning. Second, to embrace failure as your greatest teacher and never let it break your spirit. And third, to take action with consistency. Small efforts repeated daily create extraordinary results. Then no obstacle will be too big, no dream will be too distant. Success is not something you wait for. It is something you create through clarity, courage, and discipline. The future is not written by chance, it is written by choices, and the choices you make today in your student life will write the story of your tomorrow. The question is not whether success is possible. The question is, are you ready to live by these principles and claim it?